금요일날 뉴욕타임즈 좀 서점에 가기 전에 좀 읽어보겠습니다. Opinion: Palestinians must have hope for a brighter future. This is a humanitarian catastrophe that risks igniting a wider regional conflagration. How do we balance our desire to stop the fighting with the need to address the roots of the conflict? My brother's Thanksgiving lament. Surely, he said, the greatest country in the world can do better than these 200 men. Biden's 3 years have been a disaster. An exorbitant round of unnecessary COVID spending sent inflation through the roof, leading to a destructive rise in interest rate and further squeezing consumers. Team may turn spoil into community. Los Angeles Rams plan to build a new complex in Fernandino Valley. In a $650 million land deal by the team's owner, Stan, and the Rams executives laid out their vision last week for revitalizing nearly 100 acres in the valley's Woodland Hills neighborhood into a sports-centric, live work-play development, including a practice facility and team headquarters. 5 chaotic days of battle for OpenAI. The pressure made the other board members dig in their heels. Three people familiar with their thinking said they were appalled that Mr. Altman and his allies were encouraging a mutiny and wondered if it could be illegal because the employees had a contractual obligation to the company, not to its chief executives. Mutiny. Smaller board one survivor. While leading Harvard, he said women might lack an intrinsic aptitude for math and science. Crypto case deliver warning to the industry. Mr. Zhao's lawyer and Binance spokeswoman did not respond to request for comment. The global high stakes of low-quality material, cheap products made poorly and thrown away quickly, are killing people and the planet. Quality is smarter business. Even during economic downturn, people don't stop spending. In our experience, instead of wanting more, they value better. Consumers should demand and companies should deliver products that are more durable, multifunctional, and crucially socially and environmentally responsible. Government has a role too. America needs a national revolution around quality, backed by policies and legislation that prioritize the most sustainable raw materials and the best manufacturing practices. We should bring back the buffalo. Such apples in America can be a much-needed redemptive act of healing. But that heartbreaking tale has another chapter too that shows how Americans can change direction and pull back from the brink. An unsettling lesson in the method open AI. Ensuring that AI serves humanity was always a job too important to be left to corporations, no matter their internal structures. In my reporting, the best explanation I've heard for the boldest decision, as poorly communicated as it was, is that it fired Altman for the precise reason it said it fired Altman. He was acting and communicating with the board in a way that made it hard for it to exercise its responsibilities. That is to say, control the for-profit. A frantic 5-day fight to control OpenAI, company that emerges is built for profit. Balance with safety is less certain. After the decision to bring back the Sam Altman, OpenAI workers employed Slack channels with heart emojis. Both sides focused on an October research paper co-written by Helen, an OpenAI board member who served as a director of strategy at Georgetown University's Center for Security and Emerging Technology. A smaller board for now with only one survivor. Members agreeing to leave were unyielding on need for independent thinkers. Mr. Altman fought for several days. Two people familiar with the negotiation said on Tuesday he relented. Triumph of capitalism. The shift. The AI technology was unlikely to be governed by those who wanted to slow it down. A technology potentially capable of ushering in a fourth industrial revolution was unlikely to be governed over the long term by those who wanted to slow it down, not when so much money was at stake. Challenges the increase for 2024 election workers. Mali laced with fentanyl suspected in 5 states, many staff members quit. Every way in which our elections are administered is going to be tested somewhere at some time during 2024. The challenges go beyond the threat to demand that can make the requirements of the job feel limitless. In the last year, for example, election offices nationwide have been bombarded with requests, usually from election skeptics and the allies of Mr. Trump, for millions of pages of public record relating to voter rolls and the internal election operation. A community's fresh water at risk. You could taste the salt. There's no way I'm serving that to my customer, said Ms. P59. I'm not making people sick. Salvaging the day after a restless night. You need to adjust for shortcoming and take a well-timed nap. In the brain, these changes show up as less activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of planning, decision-making, and other executive functions. At the same time, there is more activity in the amygdala, an area of the brain involved in feelings of fear and anxiety. A vigorous work is good, but it pays to pick up the pace. Both methods of exercise offer benefit, but running is better for lasting health. Researchers, how to start? Running does have its downside. It's high impact and hard on your connective tissue. Researchers have debunked myths that running will always wreck your knees. Debunk. More beans, but passed on the steak. The case has never been clearer. Eat less bacon and more beans. Challenges increase. U.S. presses Israel to set up safer areas. With the pause in sight, Biden seeks measures to reduce harm to civilians. American officials say the death toll in Gaza, more than 12,000, about 40% of them children, according to the health ministry there, is too high and has turned many nations against Israel's tactics and undercut public support for the country in the United States. American officials are worried about the Israeli military's expected offensive in southern Gaza. Deal to free child hostages bring both hope and anguish. Abigail, a neighbor who saw both of her parents killed, according to relatives, was taken in by the brothers' family and was kidnapped along with them. For these teams, it may be win now or bust. Luxury tax constraint will make it trickier to preserve aging rosters. Experienced outfits are reaching a point where they need to prove they should stay together. The owner, Steve Ballmer, can throw cash at this team for eons. Some Israeli feared a pause would help the Hamas. Prime Minister faced competing pressure at home and abroad. Some regarded the two Israeli priorities, eliminating Hamas and retrieving the hostages, as being in conflict. Retrieving. The hard decision that secured the release of a hostage. President Biden needed to talk Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu into accepting the deal that was on the table. What's left when a long war suddenly ends? Azerbaijan savors victory over Armenia in conflict as resentment burns anew. I am happy that we returned, but we lost everything that we had here. A scientist approach to the neglected needs of curly hair. In September, 5 schools in France began offering this new specialized training, wrapping his head around success. He's a blockbuster novelist, but Mick is mostly insulated from the praise. I've been a failure for longer than I've been a success. So until it balances out, I'll always feel that way. The life-altering apex of a capture the embrace. Capture the embrace. A famous photograph is back in the spotlight thanks to the crown. It's summer 1997, and Princess Diana is flirting with Dodie Fade, a globe-trotting playboy, on the Jonical, a yacht floating on sparkling Mediterranean waters. Diana teasingly says that she likes men who have lips that are just the right temperature. Mine the right temperature? Dodie replies. Glassed menagerie from under the sea. Models of invertebrates made over a century ago anchor a new exhibition. These lifelike sea creatures were once the gold standard of marine geology teaching models. 아이고, 이놈의 단어. A masterpiece about a masterpiece for all ages. Book review. Sarcomet is a cross between a dantesque pilgrim in the middle of his life's journey. He's described as neither young nor even old, and a Buddha-like sage, indifferent to earthly temptation. He demurs when Ganon promises him riches, remarking that a painter has but one mouth to enjoy the flavor of food, but one belly to comfort. Travel. A cook's tour of the Tokyo food scene, joining professional chefs at a class in Japan, add context to dining in the city. Things you have taken for granted will inspire new respect. An invisible battle over radio waves. The Russian Army's anti-drone combat capabilities are superior to those of the U.S. military, the report said. Want to see the star play? That will cost you extra. Miami is changing between 46% and 82% more for standard season ticket than it did this year, when Messi joined mid-season. Napoleon cannons and Egypt's the pyramid. Mr. Scott's vision of Napoleon shooting cannons at the pyramid of Giza is just a continuation of the long-standing impulse to co-opt The lesson of the method at OpenAI. Science fiction writers and AI researchers have long feared the machine you can't turn off. At the heart of OpenAI is, or perhaps was, a mission: invisible battle of the radios. Ukrainians struggle to counter the jamming of vital communication. The drones began crashing on Ukraine's front line with little explanation. Hard choices needed for hostage deal with Hamas. Painstaking negotiation may also lead to extension of temporary ceasefire. The path to the hostage deal was painful and painstaking, marked by fitful progress, deep mistrust, terrible choices, and moments when the whole thing was on the verge of unraveling. Fitful. Napoleon in Egypt, a delector's creative vision. French Emperor's legacy is revisited in a new film, and historians are divided. Some historians have criticized Mr. Scott, but many hope Napoleon will generate interest in the events that inspired the film.